Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. As you can see there in the description, the Pistols record stands. So really interesting, man. If you've been following this story, a guy by the name of Antoine Davis from Detroit Mercy has been pursuing Pistol Pete's record. Talked about it on AFR yesterday. I think we talked about it here a bit yesterday as well. Plays at Detroit Mercy, that's in the Horizon League, and he's a four-year starter who, because of COVID, was granted and took advantage of the fifth year. So he has now been a 5-year player at Detroit Mercy. So, of course, he got the extra year, and over the course of his 5 collegiate seasons, he's averaged 25 points a game. And he had this late season spurt, which put him within reach of Pistol Pete's record. And so wrapping up the regular season, it was going to come down to how Detroit Mercy did in the Horizon League tournament. Well, they won their first game, and that left him 26 points shy of Pete Maravich's record. So 25 to tie it, 26 to break it. Well, last night, Detroit Mercy lost. They lost in the Horizon League tournament. And Antoine Davis scored 22 points. So he falls 3 short of tying, 4 short of breaking Pete Maravich's record. But here's the twist. So they're not obviously going to make the NCAA tournament, and at (14-19) overall and 9-11 in the Horizon League, they're not likely to make the NIT either. However, they are open to playing in the CBI, the College Basketball Invitation, which does take teams with a sub 500 record. You do have to pay a $50,000 fee to be in that tournament. So remains to be seen if they will. But after the game, Davis said they'd be open to playing in the CBI. So if Detroit Mercy does have the opportunity to play in the CBI, then Davis's pursuit of Pete Maravich's record would continue. So on one hand, I am bummed, that this might continue. I am relieved that he hasn't broken the record, but I'm also, I guess, as we talked about yesterday, preparing for the possibility that it could fall, understanding that records fall and that records are just numbers, but how we all interpret them is what really matters. I gave the example of O.J. Simpson's 2,000-yard rushing season in a 14-game season. That to me is still a standard bearer for a regular season rushing champion. So maybe Pete won't hold the career scoring record, but his points per game record of 44.2, that should never be approached. So anyway, we'll have to keep watching Detroit Mercy to see what happens if they do in fact get an NIT or CBI invitation. It sure seems like they're open to it, and if you're the CBI and you're trying to draw any type of attention to your tournament possible, then a guy breaking Pete Maravich's all-time scoring record seems like uh, an intriguing draw. So we'll keep an eye on it. All right, y'all, let's say some good mornings here, see what y'all got. Got baseball at the box this weekend, a 4-game series for LSU. They'll play Butler twice and Central Connecticut twice. So Butler today, Central Connecticut twice to follow, then Butler on Monday. Brian Wynn, good morning. Tim Gotro, ready to catch some games at the box this weekend. All right. Jesse Brown, what's going on? Brady Smith, I've never been more invested in a Detroit Mercy basketball game. Amen to that. Trivia Carter, what's going on? Jason H, good morning. Brian, do you think Pete would have scored 10,000 points with a three-point line in 5 years of eligibility? 10,000. So I think it was Dale Brown and Sam King who at one point tried to do their best guess, looking at old film and everything to determine how many points Pete would have scored had there been a three-point line. And as I recall, they said his average would have been closer to 60 instead of 44. So, 60 over 5 years. He'd been close. It probably would have been closer to 9,000 though. If you do the math, if you average 30 games a year, at 60 points per game, that's 1,800 points per year over 5 years. That would leave you shy of 10,000. But Eric Waterrider, morning, Matt. Your point about the quality of play gap between college and NBA being massive is spot on. Do you think the gap is more or less with MLB and college baseball? Probably more. I think what most people don't really recognize, Eric, is how much of an outlier the SEC is. We watch week in and week out such a high level of baseball where you see guys that throw mid-upper 90s, and you have Dylan Cruzes and Alex Bregmans that roll through places like LSU and just around the SEC. That doesn't happen everywhere. But just when you consider how many more players there are, it's equal or greater. Roy, can you think Detroit Mercy will have the opportunity to pay $50,000 to play in the CBI? I mean, I do, Roy. I mean, there's a wind. My assumption, Roy, is that they would have some booster that would shell out 50 grand. I mean, or their athletic department, even if their athletic department couldn't do it, they could crowdfund it. I mean, if they're trying to pursue this record, and that's the thing, they'll find a way to get there. Jeff McKithen, Ryan Amanda Guidry, Bubba Tatum, good morning. Aaron Hornsby, what's going on? Ryan said, so glad Pistol Pete's record didn't get broken. It wasn't apples to apples. I hear you, but that happens a lot. I mean, look, that's the old, Roger Maris, 61 with the asterisk, because, he had an extra game, or an extra 7 games, than Babe did. But it's not done yet. David Coslin, Bubba Smith. And the one other thing, though, that is worth pointing out, and I know we pointed it out yesterday for those that missed it, but yes, Pete did it in 3 years. You might be surprised to know, however, that Antoine Davis has taken in 5 years roughly 200 fewer shot attempts than Pistol Pete did. Pete averaged 35 field goal attempts per game for his career. Davis isn't even close to that. So Pete took way more shots than Davis did. The equalizer, though, is, of course, the three-point line. Smash that like button if you would. Hey, by the way, real quick, I was made aware yesterday that it's best of 225 time, and ya boy was nominated again for Best Radio Personality and Best 225. So I'm going to post the link in the chat here to vote. If you would take a second, click the link and vote, I'd really appreciate it for Best Radio Personality and for 104.5 ESPN for Best Radio Station. I've been nominated for Best of 225. I think it's been like 10 times that I've been nominated. And I've won one time. If you're on Facebook, you can see the Best of 225 plaque right there. It was in 2020. And I love that one because it is a fan. Two reasons primarily. Number one, it is a fan vote. It's not some organization voting on it. Like there's no inherent bias, or just it's fan vote. So that's one reason. Two is I think we, meaning us, the sports guys, are inherently disadvantaged because of the readership of 225. 225 tends to skew female, and probably it just doesn't match our primary demographic, which is men 25-54. So when I won it a few years ago, it was really cool. And last year I was runner up, and I've finished runner up like 9 times in different categories. So I think Murphy, Sam, and Jody won it last year, and I was runner up. Anyway, I'd really appreciate it if you would. I would appreciate it if you would. If you take a quick second, click the link and vote. It's a real easy thing. I mean, you literally there's a bajillion categories, from like food and drink and people and places and all different kinds of categories that you could vote for. You don't have to vote in every category, but if you would, go vote for it's food and drink, shopping and services, and then people and entertainment. So I linked the people and entertainment. When you scroll down, you'll see it. So appreciate it. Matt's always the bridesmaid. Devin, in this instance, I kind of am. You know, I've been. It's very humbling because like the names that get on the ballot through their nomination process, which is an open nomination, and then they look at who gets nominated the most, and that's who makes the ballot. And so it's always nice to be on the ballot, and I've literally finished runner up like 9 times. So, and I've won it once. So anyway. If you take a quick second, click the Best 225 link and vote. That'd be great. And for not only for me for Best Radio Personality, but for 104.5 ESPN for Best Radio Station. Aaron Hornsby, already done. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. All right, y'all, smash that like button if you would. I'm being very needy today. I'm asking y'all for a lot. Reed Rule, happy Friday. Hoping 4 games in the next 4 days means we see Skeens get some ABs. It'll be interesting, Reed. I think maybe. But Reed, I really think that the opportunity for Skeens to hit this year, it's going to be really few and far between. Primarily, look here, I'll give you an example. Look what happened to Tommy White on opening weekend. First at bat, singles up the middle, diving back into first base, separates his shoulder. What if that happens to Paul Skeens? Like, that derails your season. What if Paul Skeens gets a pitch inside and gets hit on the hand? What if Paul Skeens turns his ankle rounding first base? Man, you just have to ask yourself, is it worth the risk? And I think early on, that was going to be the plan, was that he was going to DH when he wasn't pitching. And then it was, hey, give him Saturday, pitch Friday, get Saturday off, DH Sunday. And then the closer they got to the season and the more they realized what they had, their lineup, bats. So they're like, it's just not worth it. So we may see it. I just don't think there's a really good opportunity for us to see Paul Skeens DH this weekend or much this year at all. Glenn Garner, you mentioned Fournette on AFR. I was saying months ago I wanted him and Hooker. Can we pull that off in your opinion? Absolutely. So Hendon Hooker, I think will have the opportunity to draft him twice. I think he will be on the board at 29 and at 40. So that'll be interesting. As far as Fournette, it really depends on what Leonard's market is, and I don't know what what Leonard is going to garner, but the contract he had in Tampa wasn't robust. He signed a 3-year, $21 million deal, so it was $7 million on average per. The market value, let's see, Spotrac puts Leonard's market value at, where is it? Oh, they don't list a market value because he's technically still under contract. Let's see. Anyway, I mean, just look at what his cap number for 23 was projected to be $6.5 million. That's very approachable for the Saints. And it's really, I think, going to depend on what the market is for him. Where are we? Sorry. Oh, man. Oh, I'm really behind on comments. My apologies. Let me get going here a little quickly. Guy Brooks, good morning, Matt. Hoping your family have a great weekend. Thank you, Guy. Same to you. Aaron Hornsby, Taz, good morning. How do you feel about Georgia quarterback? Ross Jackson says he's not worth a draft pick and the Saints shouldn't take a flyer on him. Taz, I do not like Stetson Bennett at all. I think he is the product of being a 25-year-old playing against 18 and 19-year-olds with an NFL roster around him. I think any number of a dozen, I think there are several dozen quarterbacks that could have won a national championship quarterbacking that Georgia team this year. I don't think there's anything Stetson Bennett does that is exceptional, and I hate his attitude. So I have no desire whatsoever to see Stetson Bennett in a New Orleans Saints uniform. 992 RAS, which record is scoring record of averaging 40 points or overall points? Yeah, so the record that's in Pistol Pete's record that's in jeopardy is the total points scored, not the points per game. Do you think the Saints will take a shot at Lamar? Taz, if Lamar becomes available, yes, but I don't think he's going to become available. The Ravens are going to franchise tag him, and he's going to be back in Baltimore. Brad David, do you think Jayden Daniels could be a Heisman dark horse if he improves? Absolutely. I mean, look, if you are the starting quarterback, look, we were like, Jayden Daniels, after LSU beat Alabama, started to get Heisman odds. A better finish against Arkansas, Texas A&M, and he had a legit shot of being in New York. So yes, I mean, if you're Jayden Daniels and you throw for 3,000 yards and run for 1,000 yards this year, and you have a Lamar Jackson type statistical season, and LSU goes 11-1, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brad, I'd go so far as to say it's not even really a dark horse. Like, he's got odds right now. The Heisman Trophy odds, I'll read them to you right now. He's like maybe 8th on the list. Dang, where's the list? Here you go. Yeah, so Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, Jordan Travis, Michael Penix, Quinn Ewers, Brock Vandegrift, Sam Hartman, Cade Klubnik, Jayden Daniels. I mean, it's all quarterbacks, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10th. He's got the 10th best odds. I mean, so yeah. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Hunter Broadhead, good morning. Guy Brooks, what do you think about the rematch tonight in Greenville with the LSU women's basketball? I know Kim wants that first SEC tournament win. I don't care about the SEC tournament. Sorry. I don't. I'm sorry. Joey Metke, I was trying to give you a reason to care. I don't. Conference basketball tournaments are a sham. They're a money grab. I care way more about what you do over the course of a full conference season than I do over half a week in a neutral site city playing a tournament. Conference tournaments are just a money grab. Brad David, will LSU ever get a new arena or major renovation to the PMAC? Or is that not possible? Yeah, they are looking at renovating the PMAC, and that's most likely what would happen. Brad, if they ever get a new arena, they would have to build it likely on the spot where the PMAC is, because my understanding at LSU is they like to have all of the athletic facilities centrally located like they are, where they're all clustered together. If they were to move the Maravich Center, or if they were to build a new one, they would probably have to build it on a new spot on another part of campus, which they don't want to do. Like if they knocked down the Parker Coliseum and built a new one there, but they want to keep everything at the same spot. So I don't know. I mean, theoretically, Brad, they could knock down the Maravich Center, build a new arena, and play at the Centralplex or the River Center for a few years. But I don't think that that's ideal. Glenn Garner, fudge the batter clock. Nah, Glenn, it's a great thing. It's not even about the clock, man. It's about pace of play. Dalton Barnett, Spurge, what's going on? Cliff, would it be possible to tear down the PMAC there? There you go. Bro, I just go to the Centralplex. Oh my God, I'm reading Cliff's comment. It's like literally the same thing I just said. Yeah, I mean, I know all those possibilities have been discussed. I just don't think that it's realistic. Not now. I think more than likely what they would do is they would just continue renovating the Maravich Center. Brett DeGrow, what's going on? Glenn Garner, if I'm going to have myself and friends and family vote for you again this year, I work overnight again, so I'll be watching live every morning. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, very much appreciate it. Dalton Burnett, Matt Moscona, #1 swoosher in the 225. You get my vote. Thank you, Dalton. I appreciate it. Yeah, 992 RAS, talking about Pete's freshman year. I mean, I think we all understand, right? Pete's record would be completely out of reach had he played a fourth year. And the only reason this is even in contention is because Antoine Davis has a fifth year due to COVID. I mean, it literally took a global pandemic to make this happen, but, it's okay. Bailey C., how are we not crushing the Saints more for trying to handcuff themselves by trading for Carr? Bailey C., I might have been the only one, man. I mean, I might have been the only one yelling as loudly as I was, but I couldn't have been more upfront about that. It would have been the worst decision in Saints franchise history if they had traded for Derek Carr, traded for that contract and given up assets for that contract. Excuse me. Reed Rule, better hope T-Bob doesn't win. He'll hold that over your head first. But T-Bob was nominated last year and finished distantly behind me. And I finished second to, I think, Murphy, Sam, and Jody. So, whatever. Look, if T-Bob wins, great. I would love to see someone on our station win. I just know how the vote goes for Best of 225. It is a heavily female skewed demographic. So it's hard for the sports guys and stations to win. That's not a complaint. It's the reality of the demographic of who's voting. So that's why, I would love for y'all to take a quick second, click that link and go vote. Cajun Country, I voted on 2 separate emails last year. One of the Pels, cut bait with Zion. They don't. They don't cut bait with Zion. Devin Kelly, is that actually you commenting on the program director on Hunt Show? I've never commented in the chats on any of the shows, so no, that's not me. Skeens would have target on the back in the batter's box, yeah. Jesse Brown, Kamara has pleaded not guilty. Trial set for July 31st. Is it possible he does not get suspension? Jesse, I suppose if the charges are dropped, but there's video of him involved in the fight. The charges have been brought. He's pleaded not guilty. The trial, by the way, is during training camp, July 31st. So, we'll see how it goes. David Tolson, thank you. Appreciate you for voting. Deborah Coward, good morning. Lots going on this weekend. Brian Arsenault, conference tournaments are like midweek games. David, UFC 285. Who do you have for the co-main event and main event? Well, Valentina is Valentina. This will be, so I'm going, by the way. I'm flying. I'm going to bring Drew to school, then I'm heading to the airport. Going to Vegas for UFC 285 tomorrow. I'm fired up for it. I've seen John Jones' last 2 fights in person, so this will make 3 straight that I've seen John Jones, which is phenomenal. And I've also seen Valentina a couple of times. I know some people have trouble watching the female divisions, but I'm here to tell you, like, even if I had that in my head whenever they first introduced the female divisions, when you watch the technical nature and skill of a fighter like Valentina, you get over that real quick. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to watch a ton of fights tomorrow, and the most dominant, skilled fighter on the entire card is going to be Valentina. She is going to wreck that fight. So, like, it's a championship fight, and she's minus 800. She's incredible, man. Valentina is a machine. But I don't know about John Jones, man. Ring rust is real, and he's moving up to heavyweight, and Cyril Gane is a monster. And I don't know how John Jones is going to do at a heavier weight, and especially having not fought in a couple years. So, I'm excited about it. All right, a couple more minutes. Please smash that like button if you would. Subscribe up to the YouTube channel, Facebook. Please like the Matt Moscona page and share this post. We appreciate that as always. Shout out to Brock. If you need an orthopedist, you know what to do. Call Brock. They're the best. Inside of the Surgical Specialty Center on Bluebonnet. Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. Hudco is pinned there in the chat. Would love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. Just click that link. There's a contact us form on the homepage. Really easy. Again, I want to remind y'all, you have 2 years from the date of a storm to file a claim. So the Ida date is coming up in August. So if you never had a roof inspection from Ida, that's coming up. So give us a shout, HudcoRoofing.com. Guy Brooks, you got my vote. Hope you win. Thank you, Guy. Appreciate that. Larry Garner, good morning. DT, good morning, Matt. Any game coin update? Finally less than a month away. Yeah, man, I'm excited about it. There was a board meeting last week when I was in Napa, so I was not part of it. So I can't give you the update on this week since I was out, but so every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. is our board calls. So I'll be able to let you know more coming up on Wednesday. Brian Penn, good morning from Fort Wayne, Indiana. David Bass, morning. Did I hear correctly? Pistol Pete's record is safe. So David, the Antoine Davis, who's chasing Pistol Pete, came up 4 points short last night. And Detroit Mercy's not going to be an NCAA tournament team at large. They're not going to be an NIT team. However, they have said they're open to playing in the CBI if they get an invitation. So, and sub 500 teams do get invited to the CBI. So if they get invited to the CBI, he'll play and he'll break it there. So it's not completely over yet, but we'll see. Dalton Barnett. A lot of people say Matt is the Harold Perkins of the 225 Airways. Pure talent. Hashtag swoosh. Thank you, Dalton. I'll take that comp any day. Number one, fun swoosher. That's it, Cliff. Good. Don't make Matt swoosh you, Cliff. Oh, man. All right, it's 8 o'clock. I got to go. Yep, UFC women's division is great. Reminds me of old school UFC. I don't know, man. when I think of old school UFC, I think about more of the lawless brawlers. The whole sport has gotten so skilled now, but yes, there are some exceptionally skilled fighters in the women's division. Trivia, Matt, I'm willing to vote for you in Best 225 if you make a commitment to find a way to bring back the companion show. I will do my best, Trivia, but I will tell you contractually, with a 3-year agreement extended under the LSU Sports Radio Network contract, that's in the contract, so I won't be able to do it for at least 2 more years. Brett DeGrow, Trivia, Ronda was a monster until Holly. The thing about Ronda, though, is she was not versatile. Ronda was a great judo artist, and Holly was a kickboxer and head kicked her and finished her. And then came Amanda Nunes, and Amanda Nunes just wrecked Ronda Rousey and wrecked everybody, I get it, everybody's day in this sport eventually comes. But right now, it ain't close for Valentina. Drew has school on his Saturday. No, Jason, Drew has school today. Today's Friday. So I'm bringing Drew to school today, and then I'm going to the airport. So Musso's doing AFR today. All right, 8 o'clock. I got to go. Appreciate y'all for being there. YouTube, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. Share the post. Appreciate y'all for being there, as always. Again, if you would, I'll drop the link again for Best of 225 voting. If you would take a quick second, vote. Your boy's been nominated for the Best of 225 Best Radio Personality, and please vote for 104.5 ESPN for Best Radio Station. All right, y'all have a great day. Thanks so much. Peace.